Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. And we are now at 100% productivity on the cows, thanks to the addition of total mixed ration. We've got 16,000 in there. That should last two and a half days. Yeah. And the other stuff, we've got more than that. Not in terms of liters, but in terms of that bar being full. So I think we'll be okay for another day or two before we have to do any serious work with the cows. Although we will want to keep an eye on this area here and keep it clean with that bucket when we see stuff start to get deposited there. Now I've been thinking about what to do with the straw in that field, and I really want to get a square baler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my round baling equipment over to the shop, and I'm going to see what I can get for it and see if we can get enough to get a square baler. If I go to the shop, well, if I go to the garage, it says that my current baler is worth $34,950. But I think we get more money if we sell it at the shop. And I'm not sure if that garage number includes the premium for selling it at the shop or if it doesn't. So I want to find out. If it doesn't, then we could be able to make something work here where we can get a round baler or a square baler and hopefully the trailer for it too. We might have to lease the trailer to haul them away, but yeah, I don't want to keep doing round bales. It's time consuming. There we go. All right, so let's see what it says here. Yes, okay. So the premium is not shown in the garage. Let's repair. Okay, so I can get 42 grand for it. Sold. Okay. Let's go and get the round bale loader. And we should be able to get another, I don't know, 30,000 or something. I forget what I paid for it initially. And then we can sell the wrapper as well. And I might regret this, but whoops. As long as I can make some more money to get all this stuff taken care of before I need to feed the cows again, or before I need to collect more bales for the cows. See, that's the other thing. I've got enough bales to last for a lot longer than the 2.5 days. Right, so I should be able to get a couple more harvests in to help pay off this new equipment that I'm about to get. If I have to lease part of it or whatever. But once I sell this, I'll at least have enough to buy the square baler. And then the only other question is whether I'll have enough to buy the trailer that goes with it. I think I probably won't, because if I remember correctly, that trailer is rather expensive. All right, so let's repair first and sell that one. Okay. Now let's see what the other bale trailer costs. All right, the baler itself is $105. We're going to buy that. Actually, let me just make sure that's the right one. This is the baler that it's a round baler and it has a built-in wrapper. And this is the wrapper for square bales. So that one's rather expensive. Yeah, and the trailer for square bales is $70K. So, yeah, it ain't going to be cheap. Okay. Let's go pick up the wrapper, and we'll sell that. And then we'll pick up the baler and start making straw bales. And then I'll have to lease the trailer to sell the straw. I should be able to make enough money on the straw bales to cover the cost of the lease and give us some extra money. So if that's the case, then I'm still coming out ahead, right? Because I haven't borrowed any more money recently, right? And we do need to make sure that wait, those aren't bale wrappers. We need to make sure that we've got enough money for seed and fertilizer and lime to get the next harvest underway. So I'll try to make sure I've got at least $10,000. And then of course we've got an interest payment that comes every night. That's about $3,500. So we need to be prepared for that. Now, I've said this before, but you can get a negative balance for things like hired workers, loan interest, and things like that. But if you have a negative balance, you can't buy anything, which would include seed and fertilizer and stuff like that. And if worse comes to worse, I can just grind away at some contracts. Grind away at contracts for a while. Okay, yeah, so we're fairly well short of being able to afford the square bale trailer. So I'll make the bales first, and then I'll go ahead and lease it. All right, and in the meantime, we can get the New Holland busy fertilizing the grass. I think I'm going to have to use the case for this baler. You can see it's quite a bit bigger than the roll belt was. And my experience with this thing in the game is that it requires more horsepower than it lets on. I think the requirements are 130 or something like that, but I've pulled it with the New Holland, actually, with the upgraded New Holland like I have now, and it was working very hard. Okay, so that's going to start down here. Let's unfold it. Turn it on. Lower the pickup. So yeah, it looks like the straw yield was adjusted down quite a bit. I think before I would have had to stop already to empty. But again, the nice thing about the square baler is it's like a continuous extrusion process, so you don't have to stop at all. You just keep rolling until all the straw is picked up. And eventually they get pushed out the back. And I'll just go every second row until we get this field done. Yeah, see, it's slowing down a bit going up the hill. So even with the 200 and What do I have? I think I'm still on the base engine, so 225 horsepower, I believe. Even with that, you can't pull this thing up a hill. And you know, one thing about the game is that it's hard to get a really good feel for the size of these machines in the game. Because I've seen balers like this in real life, up fairly close, and they're enormous. I mean, they're definitely a lot bigger than a large SUV. You know, I mean, they're huge machines. But in the game, you know, it just seems like, you know, the tractor is like kind of like a car, and this thing's kind of like, you know, like the size of a camper or something. But but in real life, these machines are a lot bigger than they look in the game, I think. I think, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why that sense of scale is difficult to come across in the game, but like if there's something that they could do graphically to make that more apparent, I think that would enhance the game quite a lot for me, at least. You know, I mean, these big combines and stuff, those things they're as big as houses, you know, and more expensive. Somebody posted a link in the Discord the other day. There's a YouTube series called Jay Leno's Garage. So if you didn't already know, Jay Leno he's a big car fan. You know, he's a car nut, and because he's got millions and millions of dollars, he's built quite a big collection of cars, and he has this YouTube series where he just talks about all these different cars, you know, old Porsches and Ferraris and McLaren, and, you know, I mean, just all kinds of really cool, but also a lot of like antique stuff. Like he has an old, very early 1900s steam-powered tractor. But in one of the episodes, they brought in a Case quad track, and you know, he was driving it around in Los Angeles or wherever his garage is. But it was great because they had two guys from Case, or one guy from Case and another guy who's written a book about tractors. He had them both on the show, and it was like a 40 minute episode where they were just going through all the details of the tractor and how much power it makes, and I mean, it was really, really interesting. So I think if you search for Jay Leno's Garage quad track or something like that, you should be able to find it. It was pretty neat. Okay, well, I'm going to pause this for the moment, and let's get this guy working on fertilizing the grass, because that needs to be done. I'm just going to leave the front loader forks on here. No. At some point, I would like to get a dedicated... whoops, where am I going? It's back here. I'd like to get myself a telehandler, or... maybe even just a skid steer, you know, something that we can use specifically for moving the bales around and cleaning up the pen, so that I can free up the tractor from having to do that. But for now, this is this is fine. I'm not going to worry too much about fertilizing this little bit right here, because it's not super important. In fact, this is probably going to get done in like 2 passes, maybe 3. And then we'll have to come and touch up the other spots. All right, let's get back at the baling. Now this baling is going to take a while. So we'll stick with this for a little while longer, and then I think at some point I'll probably have to pause, stop the recording, finish baling, and then, you know, come back when we're done and we're ready to pick them up and sell them. But, you know, I think we might end up with close to 100 bales again, because the last time I baled straw, that was field 11 and 20. And we got 97 bales. So now the straw output is a lot less on the field, but we're doing 11 and 13. And 13 is a fairly big field, so... Yeah, looks like we're done fertilizing. Jeez. I love that spreader. And we won't really be able to do anything on these fields until we pick up the straw. Otherwise, the worker will just end up colliding with bales and pushing them all over the place and getting hung up on them. So that's not going to work. I think that's all we need to do with the grass. Another thing I wanted to do, since we have a few extra bucks, before I pause to finish this baling, let's go and I want to do a little bit more texturing around the cow pen to get it to look nice. I want to get rid of some of that fake grass texture that's around it and replace it with dirt. I think that'll look better. All right. So let's turn that off for the moment. I'll just leave him there for now. Okay. Yeah, so I'm thinking of just, well, I don't know. See, here I've got asphalt, it looks like. We've got a dirt texture. Yeah, and then we've got dirt texture everywhere else. Okay, so maybe I'll take the dirt texture all around, except where that asphalt is. And where the asphalt is, I'll bring a little asphalt path and connect it here with the rest of the yard. Yeah, and we've got 2 different textures here, unfortunately. All right, well, let's see what we can come up with. I'm going to need to turn on my help menu. Okay, so ground type. Let me just shrink to a small size here, and then maybe we can test a couple different ground types until we're sure we have the right one. Yeah, so this is kind of like a fine texture of concrete. And we'll want to kind of come straight through like that. Actually, let me change the shape. Yeah, that'll be better. Okay. All right, let's see what that one is. That doesn't look right. That looks like the same one. Okay, can I shrink it down any more than that? No, I can't. Okay. So we'll do this. And then just try to make a smoother transition over here, if I can. No, okay, I guess you can't. There's like a minimum, a minimum size there. All right, now let's find the dirt texture again. I think that's this one. I want to get rid of some of this grass that's sticking up where you wouldn't expect it to be. And I don't mind if the dirt and the asphalt overlap a little bit. I think it makes it look more realistic. Okay, and then I want to do dirt all around here. Right, I want to do dirt here. Like, you know, I don't think it's realistic that you would have like dirt in these very specific rectangular areas and then grass everywhere else. That doesn't look quite natural to me. Something like that I think looks pretty good. And then we'll just connect this in sort of a straight line. I don't want to make it too straight. I want to look like the dirt is a result of just being driven over lots and lots of times, not necessarily, you know, that it was laid out and sculpted there on purpose. You know, some irregular shapes I think are good. You know, a little bit of extra grass around the edges like that. That looks great. All right, and then all of this should be grass, I think. All right, and there too. You know, and again, I'm just trying to make it a little bit irregular and somewhat organic looking. We'll clean all that up. Let's see. What about over here on this side? This side, I think we're okay like that. Because you might not necessarily be driving around this way. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And then I want to get rid of these tufts of grass. So for that one, we can just go to the grassy sort of texture. So the grass doesn't grow there anymore. All right, and then I don't want to spend the money now, but at some point when I have more money, I want to smooth this out. Okay, let's take a look. I think that looks a lot better. Yeah, okay. I like it. Looks good. Okay, well, I'm going to go finish baling, and when I finish up, I'll be back. See you soon. All right, and I'm back. I have collected bales across the entire field. Fields 11 and 13, and you can see that there's quite a lot of bales. I'm not sure how many I got exactly because I did it in separate sessions. I just restarted the game now to finish up here. So, but it was around 100, maybe a little bit more, perhaps even more than what I did the last time. Okay, so when we're done baling, there's an option to unload the baler. There you go. So you press that one and it'll dump out whatever finished bales are still inside the machine, and then you can fold it up and go put it away. All right, so let's go do that. And then we'll get the bale collector and start getting to work and see how much money we'll be able to get for all this straw. And with 100 bales, if we're getting around 300 a piece, that's what, 30,000 bucks. So that should more. Oh, look at that! Look at that horrible fertilizing job. Jeez. You know, I think pretty soon I'm going to get rid of that grass. I'm just going to pave the whole thing and use it for more sheds. But yeah, that's just sloppy work there. You're going to have to fire that guy. Right before Christmas, too. Alright, so just want to clean this up. I'm sure the baler is going to need some repair, so we'll do that here fairly quickly. We'll put that away, and then we'll go and lease the trailer to pick up the bales. But yeah, it went much quicker using this baler than the job did before with the round baler. And it was fairly easy. You know, I just put it on cruise control, went back and forth about 50 times. I was watching other YouTubers while I was doing it, so it wasn't bad at all. Okay. Is that the right spot? No, it is not, but let's go ahead and repair that too. Yikes. That was rather expensive. And while I'm here, I think I'm going to pick up this front weight. Repair. Yes. Okay. It wasn't too bad. All right. I'll just leave it there for now so that we can get to work. I don't want to go super long on this episode without at least getting one trailer full of bales done, so we can try to guesstimate how much money we're going to get. I'll make that help menu disappear. And I've got almost 42,000 now. While I was baling, I did 2 fertilizer contracts. One on field 12, and the other one was on field 23, the diagonal one. And you can see that my tractor is still over there, actually. Okay, so that was good for a little bit of extra money. All right, let's go to baling technology. Okay, $3,500. So I'll be able to, yeah, I'll easily be able to get that money back. Huh? Oh, right. I was trying to buy it. Lease. Yes, please. Okay. Right, so this is one of those cases where I will lease because I don't have the ability to buy a piece of equipment that I feel that I need to use. Or I don't have the money to buy a piece of equipment that I know will help me make additional money that I might not be able to do otherwise. Then in that case, it's, you know, it's a good business decision. It's an expensive one, but I don't know. It'll cost me about 15% of what I should be able to make. So that's not bad. All right, there we go. Put it into working position. All right, so this one works much like the round bale loader. And this one should hold 16 bales. So it puts them in a flat stack of 2, and then it tips up the stack. And then for each of the 8 stacks, it'll push it back. Like that. And I think you can come at it from just about any angle and get it to pick up, which is good. And while it's pushing the stack back, you do have to wait for it before it'll be ready to pick up more. There's probably a more efficient pattern than the one that I'm using right now. Okay, so 2 more and we'll have a full load. Okay, and then I'll fold it up and we'll take it over to the barn and see what they want to give us for it. So this represents 16 times 4 is what, 64? Yeah, this is 64,000 liters of straw. Right, and you might remember when we were looking at loading wagons, there aren't any loading wagons that can hold 64,000 liters. You know, you can get into the high 50s, but as far as moving baleable goods like hay, grass, and straw, this is definitely the most dense transportation method, is to bale it first. And then if you get the big flatbed trailer that goes onto the large trucks, I think those can hold like 30 bales, maybe more. So you can move around quite a lot of straw all at once with that. But it'll be a while before we can afford a truck. Well, and also you would have to load it yourself. You'd have to load all the bales yourself, at least until they come out with the universal auto load script. So in 17 there were mods, trailer mods with what they call the UAL script, universal auto load, and I don't think it worked on consoles just because it was script based. All right, let's see what we get. $4,500. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so anyway, these trailers had this script, and what you could do is, oh, it hasn't folded yet because it's waiting for those forks to get all the way to the top. You turn on the script and you drive around, and whenever you drive the trailer close to a bale, the bale would just automatically jump up onto the trailer and stack itself neatly, and it wouldn't fly off when you were driving around. So it was very much a cheaty thing to do, but if you're doing any kind of large scale baling, that was pretty much the only way to do it. I mean, especially single player. You know, if you're playing multiplayer, then, you know, you get 3 or 4 folks together and, you know, bale the field and collect the bales and stuff, and then it'd actually be kind of fun. But if it's just you and you have 200 bales to load onto a trailer, you know, it's going to take you all week. All right, we'll do one more load here before we finish today. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can, just because I want to avoid having to pay another hourly fee, which you get for every hour. It's every hour of use of the equipment, not every hour on the clock. And I think the hours of use will tick up, even if a tool like this is attached to a tractor. My understanding is that it'll continue to count the hours. So if you want the hours to stop, you need to detach it from your vehicle and let it sit by itself, and then you'll just pay the daily fee if you still have it at midnight, I believe. I think it just does it at midnight. I don't think it counts. Well, I could be wrong. Maybe it does count 24 hours since you picked it up, but okay. So as you can see, this is a much faster way to go for doing lots of bales, because you don't have to stop every 4,000 liters. You can do it in half as many trips to the barn. Pardon me. And also just having the rectangular bales makes it, I think it makes it a bit easier to keep them stacked and organized than it is with the round ones. Now this is a fairly high stack. I think it's, well, maybe it's about the same height as those round bale stacks. Yeah, it could be. You know, because this unloads vertically. So you end up with a fairly tall stack of bales when you use this particular machine to load them. Look at that turn. It's amazing. I might just turn traffic off at some point here. It's nice to see cars driving around because it adds a little bit of life to the map. And as long as you never see the cars come to a junction and have to turn or stop, you know, it adds some realism. But as soon as you see the cars deal with any kind of change in road surface or interference of any kind, then, you know, the whatever realism you may have gained just goes flying out the window. It's just it's really bad. And I don't mean to rip on Giants, you know, at least not a lot. I'm a huge fan of this game, you know. I've been playing this game for several years, since FS15, right? So no one can say that I'm not a fan. But I will say that every release of the game that I've played, I've come across stuff that I'm just like, what the heck? You know, like the traffic, like how many years have we had to work on the traffic? And it's still like that, where essentially they're just getting pulled by a string through the map. They can't stop. Well, I mean, they can stop, but they have like unlimited momentum. So they'll hit your tractor and send it flying. You know, a little sedan will do that. So, all right, that's enough ranting about that. I do like the square baler in this loader. This is much nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this field. We might even end up with enough money to buy this thing when we're done, but we'll see. Until next time, have a great one. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.